Wait, it says rebanned though.
Yeah. Because it got unbanned temporarily.
Well, it got
while it was
opened
doing
because it was
all
under
this.
appeal,
Yeah,
so it was like
exactly.
never banned
Yeah.
or not banned.
Yeah, it's
It was
Schrodinger's Apple Watch.
Schrodinger's blood oxygen sensor.
All right, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marquez.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And, you know, in January, usually there's a CES and then a little bit of a lull. This January 2024, we've decided, not that we decided, but it's become very clear.
Collectively.
It's become very clear that there is no lull. We are straight into the thick of it. Techuary.
Jeez, no.
Sorry, no.
No more.
Delete that part. No, but we do have a lot to talk about. We had Samsung Unpacked officially this week. This is the week of Apple Vision Pro pre-orders, and we got to experience it again, and we have some more things to talk about. And then there's a bunch of other quick hits that we'll get into in a second. But I think we should talk with the new big smartphones that got announced from Samsung. So let's jump into Unpacked, shall we?
Yeah.
So Galaxy S24 series is the main thing. There was also briefly a teaser for a ring.
Very
Smart
briefly.
ring, like a 3-second animation of a circle on the screen. And that was basically all we got.
Yeah.
Is Samsung expecting us to just like forget about the Bixby speaker or like just pretend
Yes.
that never got announced at all?
Absolutely.
I guess that's never happening, but you know, they're working on something new, and that's a ring, and I'm just going to put that to the side because we don't know anything about it. No date, no price, no release, no features, no nothing. But we do have the phones, S24, S24 Plus, and S24 Ultra. The easy take is, wow, they look the same as last year. But the second you look further into what they do, there is a lot there. So I'll just go super high level, then we can dive into maybe some more interesting stuff. So the phones start at $800, $1,000, and $1,300 respectively. All of the screens are totally flat with no curved edges, and they're all slightly thinner bezels. I'm really happy about the totally flat Ultra.
Yes.
They are running Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 across the board. They have 2600 nit displays across the board. And actually, the Plus phone got upgraded to Quad HD as well.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Is there an Exynos version?
Not that
No.
we've been talked about.
There wasn't
at all.
one last year either.
There wasn't one at all.
No, they got rid
Yeah,
of it.
all new Snapdragon.
Yeah.
And the edges of all these phones are all very much more flat. The Ultra has this new titanium rail material. I wonder where I've heard that before. But there is also
Apple invented titanium.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're all on the same page about. But no, we get these super flat sides with the S24 and Plus that look exactly like the iPhone. And I didn't want to say it in the video because sometimes people say that just too freely. Oh, they copied the iPhone. It looks just
Yeah.
like the iPhone. But then you hold up the phone and look at it from the side, and it looks exactly like the iPhone.
Besides the camera, the camera's the only thing that differentiates.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the sides.
Yeah.
The way they handle the sides.
Yeah.
It's just like the iPhone. Fine. Cool. New
looks
colors.
great.
It looks
I love
feels
it.
really good.
Yeah.
I was happy about the square sides of the iPhone when they did that, and I'm happy about these. But most of the changes, most of the new interesting features with this phone, as predicted from the last Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 phone that I reviewed, are in the software department, and a lot of them are AI related, and they're really quite interesting.
I'm particularly happy for Google of just like getting rid of their Pixel division and merging with Samsung.
It really felt very googly, that presentation.
From the presentation, the stuff they talked about, the actual phones and the hardware was minimal. That was a software presentation. That felt like Google I/O.
Yeah, it
and
did.
then like here's this S24 lineup tossed in there somewhere.
Yeah, a lot of good Google stuff. Let's start with the real-time voice translations, because that's where they started too. I got to try this, and honestly, it seemed like it worked really well. Basically, you get on the phone, you have a downloaded voice pack. It's like a language pack. It's like 1 to 500 megabytes for a language. You download it before the phone call, and then it will give you a live voice transcription of what the person's saying to you in whatever language. So let's say you download the Korean pack. You call someone. They're speaking Korean. They say what they want to say in Korean. You hear an English voice saying what they were saying. Then you talk back to them in English, assuming you speak English, and it voices what you said back to them in Korean.
Right.
And it was smooth, and it looked like it worked really well. I thought that was pretty cool.
And just confirming, it is waiting till the entire thing that is said is finished and then starting the translation.
somewhat. If you pause, it will start talking.
Okay.
And
Can you
if-
continue to talk during? Because like,
Yeah.
one, there are going to be people. I understand if you're doing very quick questions, like 1 to 2 sentences, pause, translation, pause. But that's a very cut and dry, like good sample or like
yeah.
experiment
Yeah.
for it. But that's not how conversations work.
There's also 2 options on the phone. You can have them hear your voice and then hear the translation, or you can just have them not hear your voice at all and only hear the translation.
So then there's just very long pauses.
There's just long pauses between.
Okay, so you either hear double of everything, sort of, in two different languages, or you hear pause and then the translation.
Which the double of everything is what we're kind of used to when we see
I'm fine with-
presentations with people in other languages. But
Yeah.
I don't know how people are going to feel about that over the phone. But
every conversation is going to take twice as long.
yeah.
But if you can understand it, I'm fine with that. I just wonder if somebody is talking for like 5 straight minutes, how does the translation aspect, or is this not what that's they said keep in touch with your friend, so I'm assuming
Yeah.
that means a phone call where you actually have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
I would like to stress test that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they tried to come up with real world examples. I think it's a useful tool. I just don't have that many conversations with people who do not speak a single word of English.
Right.
I don't think catching up with my friends involves
Yes.
that level of translation usually.
Yeah.
So it's probably more like I am in a foreign country or I'm calling someone who I've never called before and I just need them to understand what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
That
I
type
agree.
of thing.
Yeah,
So it's
it's-
just convenient for that.
It feels way more like a tool, like you said, not for fun, not for If you were probably really good friends with somebody and catching up with them, you probably understand certain amounts of language to communicate with them in that process.
Yeah. They leaned into the translation stuff a lot. I think transformers are actually specifically good at translation because of the context understanding. And they showed off that translation app that is basically Google Translate almost exactly, except it has a different UI. And it actually it looked fairly smart. It shows like it has your UI on one side and then it flips the UI for the other person. So it's sort of like what Google is doing with the Pixel Fold, where there's a UI on
the other screen.
The other screen, but
Yeah.
I feel like this is more natural.
Yeah, I'm also always, for some reason, live translation, and we have to get there eventually, but has felt like the kiss of death on some products in the last 5 years. Remember the OG Pixel Buds where like
Yeah, they
their
said they had
whole
live
thing was, it's going to live translate in your ear.
Yeah.
That was dead. Did the Surface not also have a fold over? And maybe I'm wrong on that one,
know.
but I feel
think-
like we've heard about live translations for a very long time and have not.
You also have to
Really
define
soon.
live, you know?
Very
It's
fair.
like
Yeah.
if the other person could speak and in real time it was able to translate their voice in their voice, then I would consider
be
live translation.
wild.
And I feel like they could get to that point at some point because if if there's an AI voice map of you, which like Apple is already letting you do, then being able to overlay that over what you're saying should be not that big of a leap. So maybe in the next few years.
Maybe.
Going out, not coming in though, because then you would have to download the voice map of every single person you ever talk to.
Yeah. It would be like, it would,
But either way,
every person would have to have their own voice map.
yeah.
Which maybe you have them do that during setup, or when you're doing the Hey Google thing, it just maps your voice from there.
Sorry, everyone whose phone's just lit up.
You're usually really good at saying "Hey G" instead. Also, I'm usually the one messing it up. But
bad.
everyone yell at David today.
Your phone's
I know.
Adam, just bleep it. Just bleep it.
I pushed that conversation possibly too far. I think it's a cool tool if it works. I hope it works because I'm waiting for the one that seems like it works very well.
Yeah. Something I think we'll probably use a little bit more is some of the. I mean, there's a couple other things like the Notes app can straighten up your handwriting, and the new voice memos. What is it called? It's the voice recorder app.
Transcripts
Does a lot of the same stuff Google's does now.
Yeah.
It has individual speaker detection. It can summarize it, all that sort of stuff.
Google's done since like the Pixel 4.
Lots of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's
Notes. I just want to go notes before you
Okay.
get past it. There was the like note formatting, like AI to note format and note summarize. So like if you just similar to like probably what we do at a lot of these events, you're just typing everything you see really fast, but then it can give you headers and bullet points based on everything you type and just organize it out better. I actually
I'm a
think
bullet
that's kind
point
of nice.
man, so I do like that.
Yeah. That would, I mean, writing the podcast every week, and then if it could do that for me, would actually make my life way
you just
easier.
got to set up the phone right next to the computer, just let it listen to the keynote, and then hit summarize.
Yeah.
Boom, easy. But the big things I think are like photo editing and Google search on this phone. The photo editing is very Google-like. It looks just like the Pixel.
Yeah.
So there's some photo editing features where you can retouch a photo, you can remove reflections, you can fix shadows, things like that. That's in the regular editor. And then there's a magic editor button with the little stars that looks exactly like the Pixel's magic editor, where you click it.
But the
and it
logo
goes-
is different. That's the weird
a
thing.
slightly different logo.
It feels like it's using, like, this is probably using the Snapdragon Gen 3 technology, because most of the changes from Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 to Gen 3 were just AI ML stuff.
Exactly.
So it's very strange that Samsung's interweaving all of these like Google branded features with things that Google also does with Tensor, but it's branding it as Galaxy AI.
Yeah.
It's just awkward.
It is kind of strange. Yeah. It did feel like there's a ton of Google stuff.
They could have just said it was Magic Editor. Like, they already do all the stuff with Google, but maybe they want to keep that to
They want it
Pixel.
to be a Samsung feeling thing, I guess. But yeah, you can literally do the same exact thing that you can on the Pixel, which is actually maybe even more.
Yeah.
You can circle a subject, move it around a frame, erase the background, erase whatever you want, and it edits the photo for you. It adds a tiny AI-generated indicator watermark to the bottom left corner, which you can then erase with AI. Just pointing that out.
That
Wait,
will
can you
add
actually-
another watermark in the same place?
True.
That's
true.
But you could just crop it.
You can crop it.
You just describe it.
But yeah, you can. The Magic Editor doesn't seem to have any restrictions. I played with this for a few seconds. It has this cool animation and it does the moving things around. I couldn't get it to trip up like I could Google's. I could get Google's to go, this is against our terms.
Oh,
Remember
really?
in the review video? Like
Google trips up a lot.
yeah, I'd try to move me like up higher up, like I was jumping higher or something, and it said,
It wouldn't let you do
and
that?
it wouldn't let me do that. In some of
it was
the
like-
things that felt like it's just straight up from the commercial, it wouldn't let me do some of that stuff.
Interesting.
Samsung's did not once hesitate to do anything I asked of it in the couple minutes that I played with it. We'll
Yeah.
get the phones and we'll test them more, but I just want to note that it's interesting. But then the other thing is Google Search. Google Search is better on this phone than it is on a Pixel. Is that crazy to say?
Well, we don't. Is this okay? So the feature's called Circle to Search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it exclusive to Samsung phones for now?
I think they never said it is exclusively on the Samsung, but they also said they brought like that they're partnering with Google, and then it was like just Google talking about it for a
Yeah.
while, including talking about Google Cloud and Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end they were like, together us and Google with deep collaboration have like
Right.
brought this to life. So but I didn't see any of the Samsung collaboration except that it was in the Samsung keynote and on the phone.
Do you want
Yeah.
to talk about what Circle to Search is?
Yeah, let's. It's the coolest thing I thought.
Yeah. So picture your home buttons at the bottom of the screen or even the gesture bar. And you're doing something in some app. You see a frame in a video with a cool dress, or you see a picture of something that you think is cool. All you do is you long press the home button or the gesture bar, and then this sort of a sparkly UI comes up, and then you just tap or search or circle whatever you want to search, and you just immediately Google searched that image. So it might remind you of Google Lens. It's looking at whatever's on your screen, cropping it to the way you cropped it, sending that out as a Google search, and returning a search on that image for you. Super useful. It's also very fast.
Yeah.
Like they were showing it
looks
in the
really
presentation, it was really fast. When I was trying it in real life, it was also shockingly fast. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And it's just really convenient just being able to, instead of, taking a screenshot and then uploading that screenshot to Google or to Google Lens or something like that, it's you just do it on the fly. You never even leave the app. You can search something and then just swipe it away and it's gone. Super good.
You can also ask questions about things that are on your screen, which is
Exactly.
cool.
You
I think
can-
that's super useful. And that is
Yeah.
Gemini Mini like at work because it's a multimodal functionality.
Super good stuff.
I honestly thought it was awesome. It's so simple. Like we said, it's just Lens, and we were all used to taking screenshots of things online, but just
Right.
like write in whatever app or whatever you're doing, pull it up, circle it, it searches. That's awesome. I think that's really, really cool.
I think every time there's a global functionality, it's always useful. Like on the Pixel, if you open the multitasking window, it allows you to interact with any text or image in any app in the multitasking view only. So if you're in that app itself, you can't like there's text that sometimes can't be highlighted and it won't let you highlight it. But as soon as you open multitasking, you can highlight the text in that window. And so that was like a global functionality that they added to Pixel, to Android, like probably 12 or 13. And so having more global functionality where it's like opening a sub window that's doing the Google search for you on anything that you circle is like very cool.
And also the key is it's only what you're circling.
Yeah.
So do you remember Google Now on Tap?
Yeah.
No.
So
what
Google
they
Now on
called it.
Tap on like the Pixel 4 or 5 or whatever it was.
Yeah, they got rid of
You
it.
basically, I think it was the same thing. You long press the home button and it takes everything on your screen and it pulls up some cards for you to like Google search or further explore whatever's on your screen.
Yeah.
So if you have a picture or you're standing in front of a statue or you have a picture of a statue and you long press home, it'll show you where the statue might be, maybe a Wikipedia article, maybe a YouTube video about it, but it's just everything on your screen. This is an even better version of that. You would just circle the statue and it would show you exactly what you wanted to know about that statue without interrupting whatever app you're in, whether it's a browser or the gallery or whatever. I think it's pretty sick.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I really wanted to do a trivia question about the statues in the Unpacked thing because I thought that'd be funny. And none of them were real statues.
No.
But I learned that by trying to Google Lens each one of them to see. And it was just like, bro, I can't find anything.
I have to say, I think in the event, one of the ways they were talking about like some of these features and the camera zooms was that someone was in like an art gallery and they were taking photos of a lot of things. But I realized all the things they were editing were not actual paintings because I'm sure they didn't want to make any changes to real paintings and disrupt, not even just copyrighted, but like take away from the artist or anything like that. So that's not surprising now that all of the statues.
No. The paintings were real paintings.
Not all of them. Not the ones where they did like AI changing to things.
I
Like
see
there
what
was,
you're saying.
yeah, like they had the Mona Lisa and they had a couple talking in the beginning,
Yeah,
but all they did was make them talk.
Yeah, the talking ones were
The
real.
things they edited. Somebody here
Right,
was
okay.
like, "Why are they editing
yeah.
that?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure that is a painting that they made specifically for this to not
Yeah.
What would the
disrespect
Mona
anything."
Lisa look like if it was
Yeah.
expanded
What
by
if we
50%?
What if we threw the clarity slider up on the Mona Lisa? That's
Remaster the Mona Lisa with my Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra.
better than the original.
No, they're powerful phones. They have a lot of really solid features.
Yeah, they also had this Android Auto feature that I couldn't tell
yes.
if that was exclusive or not either.
Yeah, I
it
think
felt
so.
really
It was a
weird
little.
to showcase in a Samsung event because they didn't show the phone.
Because that was like one UI, but on your Android Auto screen, it looked different from the normal Android Auto. It looked like a Samsung version of it just for this phone.
So is that their version of doing what CarPlay does, where it gets mapped to your car, except it gets mapped to your phone?
It's just to your phone, yeah, I guess so.
There was a feature in there I did really like, which is if you are navigating somewhere and you get a text message from someone that you know has an address, when it reads it out loud, one of the buttons will be a navigate button because like in Android Auto, it'll only voice text out loud and then you can't copy that into like your Google Maps. But this time you just hit a button, you know the text has a new address. Like if you were to change an address on me and I just press one button and I'm navigating.
It
I thought that was
definitely
cool.
feels like Google's approach to being in your car is your phone is the central hub of everything, and Apple is sort of like, maybe CarPlay is in the car itself.
Maybe we make a car. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Other than that, a couple minor other updates. Okay. Batteries are bigger slightly.
Yeah,
At least in the smaller S24 and S24 Plus.
yeah.
The screen sizes, like we said, just a little bit bigger. 7 years of security updates.
Right.
And 7 generations of Android updates.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty impressive. This feels,
Super
again,
impressive.
the more I think about this, the more it kind of feels like the iPhone of Android type thing that I've probably said like a year or two ago about Samsung flagship phones, which is they have the most software updates of any Android phone. They feel like they have the most features. They have more Google features than some of the Google phones at this point, although they don't have like call screening and some of the Pixel exclusive stuff. They might not call it night sight, but they sure do have nightography.
Nightography,
They'll have
baby.
just as many buzzword-worthy features. And then, of course, there's just more hardware options. You can get an Ultra phone with a new 5x telephoto lens instead of 10x, but it's a 50 megapixel 5x, so you can crop into 10x zoom and possibly get the same
Did you see
quality.
Mr. Beast use it?
He was 100 feet in the
He's
air, bro.
100. Well, he didn't use
That-
the camera 100
That
feet in the air.
feastable bar looked incredible.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Well played,
Hashtag
Jimmy.
real life scenario.
Well played.
I did respect that they actually acknowledged that the 3x to 10x distance was way too big. We've been talking about that for a couple years now with the Ultra phones, and they were like, yeah, 3x going to 10x is kind of tight. So we decided to add a 5x 50 megapixel camera so you can crop into the center portion and still get the 10x zoom.
You can still zoom all the way to 100x, in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can still do it. No one's telling you should do it, but you can still do it.
No
if
one
you want
is
to.
telling you should use the 200 megapixel mode on the main camera either. Do not
Yeah,
do that.
don't even worry about that button.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
Part of the AI thing that was disturbing to me, that seemed like it was in Google Messages. Like, I think that Samsung now uses Google Messages by default on their phones.
Like a skinned version of it.
app.
Slightly.
I think it's mostly just Google Messages.
Yeah, with like a little sheen over the top.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, anyway.
But they had like you could change the tone of a message to match a specific vibe.
That was in more than just messages, right? Because like the example they showed was something we talked about at I/O last year, which was like make the tone of this like a social post, and
Right.
threw hashtags on it.
Yeah, which they also showed in this keynote.
Yeah. Okay, that's not what you're talking about.
No, they had a
Okay,
separate
sorry.
section for the messages.
Okay, yeah.
But I do want to talk about that as well. They just had a whole section that was like, do you need to write a social post but don't want to use 1% of your brain? Type like random words and then have it generate a social post for you. And it uses like 6 hashtags, which for some reason, all large language models think that social posts have to have hashtags. Even if you ask ChatGPT to write a social post, it'll add like hashtag Freakout Friday, hashtag Thursday.
That's what the brands want.
OOTD,
OOTD.
Sigma grind set.
Nobody uses hashtags.
Yeah.
Also, who wants to live in a world where all of the social media that you're consuming are written by AI?
That's the thing. It's kind of the same, along the same lines of like GPT written blog posts.
Yeah.
Where eventually you have so many AI written blog posts that your AI is trained
Scraping
on more AI blog
written
posts.
blog posts. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now we have social posts.
Yeah.
And yes, to me as a content creator, maybe I might want some help writing them. But now, if all the social posts are AI generated,
Yeah.
then they're going to continue to think that that's how all social posts should look.
We're going to talk about something kind of related to this in e-commerce later on in the podcast, but it just reminded me of it with AI writing way too many things that we read on the internet right
Yeah,
now. But yeah, can you make a separate Twitter profile that is just every time you tweet something, you then take that and make ChatGPT make it a social version and have the alternate AI version of Marquez
God.
online?
It's going to be so much worse.
That would be so funny.
That's already made. Someone just made it.
I'll do that for my subscribers on X. How about that?
Have you
I'll
guys
just
heard
see
of
that.
dead internet theory?
No.
It's this theory that like most of the internet by the late 2010s was created mostly by bots. And so most of the things that we're consuming are just not even people. And there's not nearly as many people actually on the internet that are writing the stuff as we think.
I would feel a lot better if that were true. If the
feel
majority
like
of the stuff I was
that's
reading
quickly
wasn't real
becoming
people.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was smart.
Yes.
That's not a real person. That is AI.
Yeah.
I guess so much of what I consume is videos that I don't have that issue yet.
Yet.
You don't think
Later this year, just wait.
Yet.
Yeah.
that Will Smith eating spaghetti?
It's just hard when like if most of the content is being generated by AI and then we are having the AI summarize all of the AI generated content for us,
Yeah.
then what are we consuming at the end of the day? Get off your phone.
Everything's
and
a
go touch
remix.
some grass.
Everything is a remix.
Go touch some AI generated grass.
Wait till you finish the entirety of the Waveform episode and then go touch grass.
Or do it while
listening.
sure.
With your new
Galaxy
headphones. I don't know. There's no other products
Your
here.
ring.
No
Yeah.
Galaxy Buds.
It's just the 3 phones. Yeah, no, that's it. It's S24, S24 Plus, and S24 Ultra. We should be testing these phones pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to try the S24 because there's.
You sound
I think
like
I
you
might
really
buy
want-
it. I think
yeah.
I might get it.
From the Zenfone 9.
I like the Zenfone a lot. I like the size of it, so I want something that is also still pretty small because I tried to like go back to my regular Pixel and I feel like I'm holding a tablet after using the Zenfone. So the regular S24, but my thing is I'm probably the minority in this group where I like cases on a phone, and there are just not enough. There are not enough accessories for the Zenfone out there, and I know Samsung will have a bunch of good ones.
You're about to case it up.
Are we all
I'm
going
gonna case it
caseless
up.
right now?
I've been caseless.
That's wild.
Everybody, caseless check.
I mean, I'm caseless right now also.
Wow.
I've been caseless.
I don't want to be. I miss just tossing my phone.
I have a terrible story. Once in college, it's not that long. I was in college. I was on a video call, and the bed was behind me, and my bed is like in the corner of the room, and I have like basically like brick walls, and I
Sounds like my apartment.
I had a Samsung phone in my hand, and I went to look in the webcam feed to toss the phone backwards onto the bed behind me. And so I like looked to the side.
Is this
and
for a video or something?
No,
You were just like, this sounds like a cool idea right now.
camera,
Okay.
yeah. And I tossed it over my shoulder, and because I hadn't looked, the wide angle distortion made it look like I had to throw a lot harder than I did. So I threw the phone, and it went straight over the bed and slammed into the wall, and then slotted down behind the bed after hitting the wall. Still didn't crack.
Oh,
wow.
I was going to say, I remember years ago you telling me this is the first phone, or this is only the second phone I've broken, and you didn't tell that story.
Yeah, didn't
But that's
break.
why, because it didn't
It was
break.
fine. Not even that long ago, I went to catch the phone as I was dropping it, and I ended up backhanding it across the room. Have you ever done that? And it's this phone. This Pixel slid across so much hardwood. It's still totally fine.
Yeah.
I appreciate that probably enough people listen to this that at least 5 people are like, I've done that before.
bet
I
you've
know
done
what you're
that
talking
before.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I've
yeah.
scratched my displays with keys and stuff, but I've never broken a display before.
Really?
Yeah, I've never
I have.
cracked a phone.
Yeah.
I
little
was
scratches.
taking one out of the DJI Mavic controller and just pulled it open too hard, and it popped out of the USB-C thing, just slammed on the pavement underneath.
That sounds like a crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway,
I'm excited for the S24.
Yeah.
I'm legitimately excited for it.
Totally
I
fair.
actually think the flat screen and the flat rails are a great design.
What color are you getting?
I'll put a case on it, so I don't care.
are you going to upgrade from the 128 gig base?
No. I probably should, because I'm taking a million baby pictures now.
Yeah, it's a lot of high res, 50
Like
megapixels.
Steve Carell in The Office, where he has 7 phones for all of his children. But,
200 megapixel baby photo.
AI, take this baby photo for me.
No, take it in spatial videos. Okay, we should take a break.
PTSD.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Daddy?
We'll talk about eyesight in a second too. But let's take a quick break. We have a lot of Vision Pro stuff and a lot of other quick hits to talk about. So in the meantime, trivia.
Trivia. Dude. So, first question. The S24 finally has titanium. We've all been waiting for it.
Ti.
They should have done jade or something. That would have been cool.
Straight glass.
No, jade.
Isn't jade like a
It's a rock. It's a
rock,
mineral, right?
It's the green.
I know,
Oh,
but isn't
probably-
it
those are
isn't
two
much
different
more
things, I'm sure.
crystal?
Oh, almost definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could make the whole phone out of rhodium.
What's rhodium?
It's the ingredient in catalytic converters. I said ingredient, but so you can just steal enough catalytic converters.
Pinch of rhodium.
You're making phones for
Pour it
free.
into your phone.
I have a conspiracy theory that Samsung is going around and stealing everyone's catalytic converters for the phones. That's
Wait, why? Putting them in phones?
well, if they made the phones out of catalytic converter material.
Started.
Which I'm proposing, just so we're clear.
What atomic number is titanium on the periodic table?
Ti?
The
Texas
N.
Instruments.
I don't.
Those are the letters.
I was gonna ask that, and then I was like, "That's too easy. Someone has to know." And of course, the first thing you say is Ti.
But none of us
The
know
rapper?
the number though. Yeah, Ti.
Ti the rapper, yeah,
Yeah.
TIP.
More like titanium. Am I right?
No, you're not.
I think you're right.
Thanks.
We'll all think of a number at some point. Answers will be at the end of the podcast like usual. We'll think about it. We'll be right back. This episode of Waveform is brought to you by Visible. Okay, so Visible Wireless is one of our partners, and they're pretty great. They asked me to talk about why Visible might not be for you. Pretty refreshing, right? So Visible's base plan with unlimited 5G data on Verizon's network for $25 a month works great for a lot of people. So what's not to love? Well, they're all digital, so you do everything from managing your plan to getting customer service right in their app. If you love to handle everything without ever needing to talk to a human in a store, Visible's great. But if you need to shop for a new phone in person, Visible probably isn't for you, and someone like Verizon could be a better choice. If you want your wireless bundled with a bunch of extra stuff, don't switch to Visible. But heads up, you're going to have to pay for that extra stuff. And Visible is focused on just the wireless part of wireless. So if you want more than unlimited 5G data from your wireless plan and you want to pay top dollar for it, then by all means, don't switch to Visible. Don't even go to visible.com to learn more. You get it. Rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see visible.com. All right, welcome back. We meaning me and David,
Collectively.
we.
Together.
David and I have tried the Vision Pro a couple of times now. Most recently this week.
Yes.
This was my 4th time trying the Vision Pro.
Third time for
This
me.
is your 3rd time using the Vision Pro. This time we got to try some new things specifically that we've never tried before.
Not a lot of new
including
things, only a couple new things. But
some things we were curious about. The
Yeah.
keyboard,
Yeah.
Safari, a couple third-party apps,
The new head strap.
the new head strap. So all of this we can talk about. I just want to sort of zoom all the way out to my 4th impression of the headset now.
Yeah.
Which was, okay, my first impression, genuine first impression, and I made a video all about it, which was like 15-minute long, was like, this is easily the most impressive VR headset I've ever worn. It is incredibly crisp and clear, very immersive. The screens are amazing. The eye tracking is phenomenal. It's like magic. The selection method, when you just look at something and tap your fingers together, it works super well. It's super high quality build. Like, this thing is amazing. It's a little heavy, but this is a phenomenal piece of technology, and I can't wait to see what apps show up.
And that demo was around 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, can
Second.
confirm they would not stop talking about it that trip.
Right.
That's
So
exactly how they felt.
That's when it first got announced when we first checked it out, right? Second time was like back in New York City. I remember it being amazing, but okay, let's put the thing on again. I put it on again. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, it's still really crisp. It's still really good. There's this new calibration process where you look at these different dots around the screen several times and it calibrates your eyes, and now you do the selection thing again. And yeah, you do this whole demo. Wow, the occlusion on my hands is really good. God, this thing is really heavy though. It is metal. I get why they make these things out of plastic, but aside from that, still pretty impressive piece of technology. Third time was me watching some of my own spatial videos and photos on the headset.
Right.
I put the thing on. Yep, still heavy. Okay, but let's see. Let's look at spatial videos and photos. And, there's a kind of a sweet spot, like 3 to 5 feet away from the camera where the spatial effect is really strong and the 3D is really impressive. And so I kind of learned that. Got to try some other apps and look at some big panoramas, which have this parallax effect.
Oh, yeah.
But only 10 minutes in the headset, I'm like, this thing is heavy. I take it off. Fourth time I used the headset, which was this past week.
This week, yeah.
You do the fitting again, it's kind of like this Face ID process
You do
where
2 scans now.
2 scans from an iPhone.
Simpler than Face ID.
And you get the custom fitted headset, and this time they said, okay, we've got both straps here. Which one would you like to try? There's a solo loop one, and then there's like this dual band one, which puts more of the weight on top of your head. I said, let's try the dual band one, and we put it on top. I adjusted the straps and everything. Immediately, I'm like, Jesus, this is a heavy headset.
Yeah.
This thing is heavy. I've had it on for 12 seconds. This is very heavy. Okay, let's get into it. This time, what did? We checked out Safari. So we got to scroll
Look at
through
websites.
websites. You can pinch in, zoom, and move windows around. We got to
Use the keyboard.
type on the keyboard.
That was interesting.
Both the most impressive and least impressive part to me.
Yeah.
I'll explain.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
There's 2 ways to type on the keyboard. First way is you enter the URL bar or whatever, and a virtual keyboard pops up, and you literally poke in the air on a virtual keyboard.
Yeah.
There's no feedback.
But the amazing thing about this input method, even though it's incredibly slow, is that it's not like the depth of where the keys are and where you think your finger is going to be when it's pressing on the key. Like often when you're using virtual floating keyboards and other VR headsets and stuff, you kind of like poke through the keys until they register. But this one, you look and you're like, okay, I'm touching the top of the key. And if you like move your finger down at all, it starts to press the key down. Like, it feels 1-to-1 with where your fingers are.
Even though you can't feel it.
Even though you can't feel it.
Yeah.
But there is like a reaction to it rather than just it light up.
Yeah, you,
Like
see,
it's-
you see
you
the
see
key
it
moving
move.
down. Yeah.
And I
Interesting.
think there may even be a
It's not-
sound.
I think so. And it's not binary where it's like as soon as you touch it, it's like in a downward position. It can flex like a regular key on a keyboard.
It's pretty sick.
Like it has an actuation point.
Yeah.
On.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's only one way to type.
Yeah.
The other way you can type is if you just look at the letter and touch your fingers together.
Yeah.
And then look at the next letter and touch your fingers together. And I typed so fast with the second method. It's crazy.
Did that
And
give
I
you
know,
a headache? Just like
I mean, I was trying to type fast, so like
He's
I was
already
going
looking
a
like
little.
this
I was
I'm zooming on my eyes.
I was going a little bit nuts, but like I went in because in the poking type method, you can't really home row it because your fingers will overlap and it's kind of not that accurate. So you're poking, so it's like M K B H D dot C O enter.
Yeah.
But with the I typing method, I promise you, I said mkbhd.com, enter. And it was faster, and it probably would look crazy if you saw my eyes and the way I was like looking around the keyboard.
I
but
want to see a video of that now.
it was sick. I was typing so fast. But honestly, the third and final way is to
use
just
Siri.
like ask Siri.
Yeah.
Up in the corner, you just look at the microphone and
dictation.
just start talking, and it just puts that in. That's probably the fastest
That's
way.
probably the fastest way to do it.
I want to see if I can type 100 words a minute using the keyboard.
You cannot.
No shot.
I'm going to
0% chance.
I will do it
No shot.
by end of year.
I'm giving you
love it, dude.
60 as a target, and I think that's really
I'll make
impressive.
this a short.
Yeah.
Is this
How
the new
fast?
typing test?
I'm
When
gonna do
people
monkey.
come in?
I'm gonna do monkey type on
In spatial.
You can.
in spatial. Yeah,
You can fire up Safari and go right to the website. and
I'm gonna
it.
try it. That's gonna be the first thing I try.
So they also had a section in the app drawer this time that was apps made for Vision Pro.
Yeah.
And they had the one that one of the ones that they showed us was a 3D modeling type of application where different companies can like throw different 3D models to show how stuff works. So they showed a F1 car.
They showed a 2023 Alfa Romeo F1 car exploded in 100% scale in the room. So I was like walking around, the tire was the size of a tire. The
Yeah.
halo, you could pick it up with your hands and it was the size of the regular halo. It was cool.
The cool thing that was interesting about that is you would look at a part on the car and you would just move your hand, like you would pinch your hand and move it. And depending on what you were looking at, it would move the part that you wanted to move.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And you could scale them and look them around. And then there was another section where it showed like the airflow dynamics going over it.
I
Felt
still
very realistic.
3D modeling and like architecture and stuff like that feels like an awesome way for like client like work and just the VR world in general.
They've been doing that with Vives for a long
Yeah. I really think that's the like prime estate for it.
Lucid swore to me that that's
Yeah.
how they reviewed the interiors of their cars is by
I
like
remember
sitting
that.
in the car with the VR headset.
I think BMW said they did the same thing.
Yeah.
But with the Vive way back in the day.
Yeah.
So we got to try that. It looked phenomenal, super high quality, very responsive.
Yeah.
There were also some media apps. So the Disney app,
The Omega Capitalism app.
super Disney. They had built some experiences around like, okay, you want to go to the Marvel section of the app. Well, now you'll be on the Avengers rooftop with the shield next to you, and you'll have like the menu where it normally is, but you're in an environment that looks like it belongs. There's a Star Wars one too. I don't know if that's also Disney. It
Yeah,
is,
it is.
right?
Yeah,
So there's a Star Wars one where again you can watch a movie, but if you look around, you're not in a theater. You're on a desert
Land
planet.
Cruiser in Tatooine. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Uncle
you know,
David.
they'd built some things for the Vision Pro experience that made it feel more native to Vision Pro instead of just a floating window like maybe someone who hasn't optimized a single thing in their app.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see that type of stuff. And then lastly, we got to see eyesight.
Yes.
We got to see eyesight.
It was.
We got to see
I ha-
eyesight.
I had a lot of trouble not laughing at the guy that
How
was showing
could
it
you?
to me. It was really difficult because they brought us into a separate room to talk to a guy that was using eyesight.
To be clear, I don't think eyesight has been working on a single other headset that we've been demoing.
No.
I think this is the one that they do have eyesight working on.
I think it's been working, but they've just been hiding it because I think they are terrified of photos of eyesight. Because notice that they let us take photos of ourselves wearing the Vision Pro, but not with the eyesight
Eyesight
mode
was
on.
off, right?
That is like explicitly like we are not showing that to the public because we don't want people to laugh at it.
Yeah, it was weird.
They know it looks dumb.
Yeah.
It was like one of the only things I've ever seen in an Apple event get announced, and the whole place started laughing. Like that was just
okay.
not. It did not hit like they wanted it to. I don't think.
Theoretically, I think it makes at least sense.
Yes, I agree.
Right? So like the idea I get, but here's how in person it looks. You look at the person and the rest of their face is totally clear and they've got the headset on and then their eyes are like kind of there, but they're really blurry.
Yeah.
And so you're not really looking at someone's eyes. In the headset, I'm sure they think they're looking into your eyes, but you're looking at a blurry, weird look version of their eyes. Okay, fine. When they go into an environment or look at some media
Have a screen in front
or
of them.
have you occluded,
Yeah.
instead of showing their eyes, it will show that like purple, blue, shimmery thing that we
Yeah.
saw in the photos of us wearing it, which makes sense. So now the person looking at the headset wearer knows they can't see me. And if you're in the headset and you look at the person through the window or whatever
Yeah.
for long enough, it will create a little parting in the fog.
Yeah.
And the occlusion on the outside with the eyes will also create a little parting in the purple fog. So now it's blurry eyes and purple fog.
And if they have a window between them and you, there's a reflection, like a blue reflection in their eyes on the headset.
Oh, okay.
There's so much small detail with this feature.
I think the whole like you have a window and you can have someone kind of appear through it, so you're not like way too in the zone.
That
I think
feature,
it's
by the way, amazing.
I remember when they put that at WWDC. That's what I said in the Vergecast thing is my favorite thing they did. It is a great idea, and like you said, everything about eyesight makes perfect sense. Just looks so
just
silly.
It looks crazy.
Yeah.
Now, to top it all off, we finish this demo experience. I take the headset off. Oh my God, it's so heavy.
Yeah.
It's the heaviest VR headset you'll ever wear. And that's not just the metal. Like the battery isn't even on the headset. It's a cable that's like wrapped around and behind you in your back pocket. Just the metal, the glass, the second display, there's a lot of compute. It's a heavy headset. And this is why I keep saying I think my favorite use case of this, still from what I've experienced, is going to be sitting back in a chair where my head is propped up and watching a movie on a plane. Give me the heavy headphones, give me the heavy headset, and I just lean back, and then I can watch the movie and not strain my neck because I'm not moving my neck.
What's that chair everyone has for like listening to records?
The Herman Miller chair.
I think so, right?
I think it's a Herman Miller.
Ellis, do you know that one?
My grandpa had
that
swag leg?
chair that everyone uses to listen to records with
know
like
what you're
the
talking about.
footstool and
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
famous
grandpa had
chair.
one of
that's
those.
going to turn into the new Vision Pro
Vision
chair.
Pro
So you can
headset.
just lean
like a
back and it can
doctor's
support.
chair.
I think
Dentist.
there's a lot of reactions to what I was talking about with the weight online. To be clear, I don't think it's a deal breaker. I just think you're going to notice it very quickly. And if you look at the people who have posted photos of themselves wearing it, everyone has one thing in common, is it's pushing down right on the bone of your cheek, like on right above your cheeks. And it's like pushing, you can see it in everyone's pictures.
Yeah.
It's pushing them down because that's where most of the weight is sitting. We tried both of the bands.
Yeah.
The Solo Loop, weirdly to me, and again, this is such a fast demo, it was more comfortable for me.
Yeah.
Even though it felt even heavier.
I think that's also true for me.
And I had the dual loop on, the dual head strap on,
Yeah.
and I tightened the top and then tightened the back and then tightened the top and then the back again, and I thought I got it nice and snug, but it was kind of lifting from my cheeks, which made it feel lighter, but it
more
was
pressure.
less. Yeah, it was more pressure at the top and then less of a light seal at the bottom. So I actually preferred the Solo Loop band,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I think I did too.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say it's heavy, can I get some sort of comparison? Like heavy, like
Absolutely.
a helmet or?
You're wearing M50s right now, plastic headphones.
Well, no, Sony.
Sony.
Or
NDR,
Sony, even better,
Okay.
plastic lightweight headphones.
Yeah.
You've worn AirPods Max, right?
Yes.
It's that equivalent difference.
Interesting.
So if you're not thinking about
that's a
it,
good
you can wear it for 25, 35 minutes and maybe never even notice. And if the band's right on the top of your head perfectly and you're just sitting back listening to music, fine. But the second you move your head around or
Yeah.
think about it or start to get that fatigue, it wears way faster than a lightweight plastic.
For me,
thing.
I took it off and my head hurt for a while.
Yeah, there's various levels of people getting like headaches.
I had like a light headache for sure.
Yeah.
And I wore it for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing for me, because today, the day that everyone's watching this and listening to it, is the day that the pre-orders open.
It is.
Which in the first batch, there are apparently only going to be 60 to 80,000 units for launch day.
I think they're going to be impossible to get. I think these are going to sell really
Probably.
fast.
But you really have to be okay with the fact that that's the case. And then the other thing was that my favorite thing to do in the Vision Pro was looking at photos, especially like looking at panoramas, because like you said, there's sort of like this parallax effect. Seeing my photos really huge in front of me in that fidelity is really amazing. I even enjoyed like watching the photos that they had taken of just like people and stuff.
Oh,
It was kind of fun to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a $3,500 use case device, and they don't have any first-party apps that they are feeling like are a killer application that people should be spending $3,500 on this thing for. they're really, really, really leaning into developers to figure out why people should buy the Vision Pro. Because as it stands, I do not see Apple with an app that comes with the Vision Pro that I would say this is worth buying the Vision Pro for.
Okay, here's my theory. You know how every time you get a new like computer or laptop from Apple, they give you the classic like demos of, okay, here's the Final Cut demo, here is the Safari demo, here is the Blender demo. And you get to see what they think people will value most about that computer based on the demos and the stuff they show. With this one, I think the killer app right now is just media, just watching videos, photos and videos, Apple TV, even going in the browser, watching YouTube videos. I really, really hope there's a YouTube app at launch that lets me watch 360 videos and regular videos in a theater mode and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's the number one most impressive thing to do on that. I don't really want to spend a while browsing in Safari on a Vision Pro.
Same.
It doesn't feel that much
The
more
idea
fun.
for like, if I'm going to be in a browser, they have a feature where if you're using the Vision Pro and you look at your MacBook screen, additional screens will pop up. We didn't get to use that,
Yeah, I wanna
but
try
they
that.
said that would be a thing in the launch. So I would probably try that, just having additional monitors around you. But yeah, regular browsing in a Vision Pro, it's not going to be a laptop replacement for me.
That also, like, that scenario seems to be what VR in general wants to get to, is the like, let's work this into your workflow, even though we only have a 2-hour battery life. But besides the point
Well,
of
it can
that,
plug it to the wall though.
okay.
Yeah.
But like when you said before this, the weight wasn't a deal breaker. If you're going from like the first to the fourth time you're trying it, and every time it being heavy is getting more and more on your mind, I can't imagine that by the 10th time you pick it up to put it on your head and go, this is just, I don't feel like using this right now. It's going to be too heavy, and putting it right back down.
I totally get it. I think what it really does for me is it just restricts the amount of things that I want to do with it.
Yeah.
So if there's a game I really like and I'm about to pick up the Vision Pro again, I know that there's a finite amount of time I'm going to be playing this game.
Yeah.
If I'm on a plane or if I'm going to sit down somewhere that doesn't have a headrest, I don't want to watch a movie.
I say it as somebody who, like, I'm very excited for this to come in and try it. The only Apple stuff I use is in the studio. I am not Apple anything, and I still think this thing looks really cool. I would never spend $3,500 of my own money on it, but I can't wait to try it. I think there's a lot of stuff in it. It seems like interactions are like revolutionary almost, but the weight thing, and like how they want it to be a work, and they talked about work stuff a lot. There was a lot of
some
stand
demos.
at your desk.
Yeah.
Here's a keyboard. Here's 3D modeling. I just can't, with how much you're already saying how heavy it is, like, it's going to be sitting on their desk and be like, oh, I'll use I don't feel like
This
putting
is the
that on
thing
right
too,
now.
is because it's $3,500, and something that's $3,500 that you're only going to use for like 5 to 10 minutes every few days. The use case there is not there for most people.
So then maybe we can consider it to have 7-day battery life if you're never going to use it for more than like
All
20
day.
minutes.
My
All
theory,
week battery life.
my theory for the reason why it's 3,500 and everything is
They don't
only-
want people to buy it.
They don't want
First
people
generation
to buy
people.
it. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be people who are
agree.
developers that buy it and they have it, and then when friends come over and family come over, they're like, "Oh, that's the thing. Let me try it." We've all seen people's first reactions to VR when they put on like the Oculus back in the day. It's like magic.
Yeah.
So that's the experience that Apple wants for these in people's homes.
I agree. And I feel like we've been saying that for a long time. Like, this feels like the developer version that they just don't want to say developer version. But there are so many people out there that are going to buy this that aren't developers. I wonder, like, why not make it developer version so you can actually make sure all the developers get it? And there's going to be a ton of people who want to develop for this that it's going to get sold out and they're not going to get it.
You
because
can still
they're
develop
offering
for
it to the
without
public.
it. You just don't have the ability to look at it in the headset.
You're not going to be able to do it as well if you don't get to test it
Probably,
in the
yeah.
headset. I'm sure there are people out there who can. I'm sure you can still develop for it. I'm not a developer, but I'm sure if you're developing for it, you would prefer to have one, and there will be people who don't get it.
Yeah, you can
because
like
the
you
public
develop in
can.
a virtual environment, and like if you're developing on a phone, you just have to simulate how people tap your phone, which is pretty easy with a mouse.
Yeah.
But if you're doing the whole Vision Pro thing,
Yeah.
it's a lot more to it. I
a
think
lot.
it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
I'll say one more thing. What was I going to say about Vision Pro?
I have one more quick thing.
Oh.
Okay.
I had someone ask recently, like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I ended up just summarizing it. I summarized it as
video.
it's like a really expensive toy.
Yes.
You know?
I just thought of it. It's
Like
like
a-
when we went to Triple F. All those cars were really cool to play in and like
Yeah.
drive for like 10 minutes, but owning one is
But
just
they're
not for the
uncomfortable.
bank.
That's true. That's a great
LaFerrari.
analogy.
Yeah.
It's the
the
McLaren
LaFerrari.
Speedtail of VR headsets. Yeah, no, it's like if you have the money for it and you just on a whim decide to get one, it's going to be fun for the once in a while that you do play a game, watch a movie, watch back some spatial videos. And it's just going to be up to whatever apps show up for the rest of like why people should actually get this thing.
Yeah. Something I really liked from it was the environments that they had. They added a new environment for this demo that we had that was Wakalea.
I don't know how to
Am I
say
saying
it.
that right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I
It was
apologize
hard to
if
say
I'm
it.
saying that wrong. It is the top of the tallest mountain in Hawaii. And it was quite cool because if you pulled up like a movie or something and you played the movie, you know how companies are releasing those like backlighting for TVs that will sort of ambiently play the lighting behind the TV? It like bounces off of the clouds that are floating
that's cool.
below the mountain. So it has this like very ambient effect. There's also with the spatial audio, you can kind of sort of hear the wind kind of going like,
So it feels like you're watching something.
It really
in the place.
and the fidelity of the rocks and everything is amazing. The interesting thing is like with a laptop or a phone, you have some customization through a wallpaper. With this, they're giving you environments, and then some apps like the Disney app also can develop their own environments. I don't know whether or not developers of other apps can develop their own environments. If like Notion wanted you to have a Notion environment or something like that.
I think so, yeah.
The bummer for me is there's no personalization aspect of this device, right? Like
Unless you consider the transparent mode the personalization. Because it's your house. Your house is the personal background.
I would assume that's because the amount of information of like the file you would need to do that. Now you are someone who could give a higher enough res
Well,
file.
so this is the thing is that I have these panoramas that I'm
Yes.
gonna like release for the Vision Pro people, and you can it basically stretches around your entire scene. But I think that Apple wants people to have because in the environments there's like little things that are moving. There's some soundscapes. I think they want to be very intentional on
Fair.
like what kind of space you're in. But the thing is, like looking at my panoramas like massive like that felt so sick that personally I would prefer to just be in my own environment that I shot. And they like let people shoot their own iPhone panoramas. Like if you went to the beach with your family and you wanted that to sort of be your like wallpaper for Vision Pro, it would be nice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It would. The problem is the other side of that scale where my mom, sorry mom, downloads a photo from an Android text message and then tries to blast that as the background. And then there's just 8 giant pixels behind the like movie she's trying to watch.
Yeah.
So you would actually need the opposite of a file that's too large. You would be like, this file is too small to be.
Yeah.
It sounds.
I would like to see that also.
It sounds a little bit like the state that Apple Watch faces are in too, where there's
That's a
like
good analogy.
There's no reason that third parties couldn't make them. But
Android Wear. That was like, what was the app that Android Wear that came out right when Android Wear came out that let you make your own watch faces?
Oh, God. I don't
God, I
remember
used
the
to
name
mess
of
with
it.
that so much. Anyway, continue, Alice. I'm sorry.
just that like they want the system of like plugging into all the different kits and APIs and stuff to be so perfect that they don't even want to let people give it a try. But I agree with you, David. Like I think there's absolutely no reason you couldn't put a photo of your in and then it go, oh, that's a cloud. I have cloud dynamics built in.
I mean, that would be cool too.
That'd be
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, just the fact that there's not a lot of customization features is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Another thing, I asked them if there were like profiles. So if my wife, I don't have a wife, but if I did,
If you had a Vision
if I
Pro,
had one, anyway, wanted to use my Vision Pro, and she could like set up her own, eye tracking thing, and I could just hand it to her. You can't do that. It can.
I just assumed you could.
Yeah, I also did. That's why I asked. It can only be connected to one Apple ID, but they have a guest mode. But the annoying thing is, anytime anyone other than the person who bought the Vision Pro and logged into their Apple ID wants to use it, they have to recalibrate in the guest mode. So they have to do the whole setup process again.
It's about a 90-second.
But it's still annoying,
But
especially
there's-
for a device that you're probably only going to wear for like a few minutes at a time, unless you're watching a whole
And also
movie.
profiles, just like there's more to just the calibration aspect of it. Like there's there's bookmarks, there's all sorts of different app layouts and like your home
Yeah.
screen. That's
It might be
I
something
hate
that they
that.
add in the future, and
I can't see them not adding that.
Yeah, I mean, at least Gen 2 will definitely have
Yeah.
it. I think Gen 2 of this is going to be 20 to 30% lighter, 40% cheaper, maybe 30% cheaper, and we'll have profiles and will be a lot more durable.
It'll be the consumer version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the rich developer version. Yeah. And then the people who just like want to buy first gen Apple anything, which is fair enough.
Which is way more than it should be.
There's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is at least 60 to 80,000
Exactly.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's our third and fourth time trying it. I think when this actually gets released and we get to review the thing, we're gonna have a lot more answers to the questions. There's still lots of things we don't know. I don't know if you can screen record. I don't know if there's gonna be controller support for games. I don't know. There's lots of things I don't know about it yet. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep y'all posted. The videos will be flowing.
Yeah.
January be January. And
Yeah. The way I think like I would sum this thing up is one of the most advanced magical pieces of technology I've ever used that I'm not sure that I want to use.
Damn. Facts.
Or will hurt to use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bars. Did you see Apple Vision Pro starter pack is like a neck brace and like a pinch hand like that? It's like that's about right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. I think before we get to that last bit, we should take a quick
Trivia
break.
break.
Little break.
Sup, Andrew? Earlier, you said this is not the first time we've seen a live translation announcement, and you're right. We've actually been seeing them for quite a while. So I went through the history books and I compiled as many live translation feature announcements as I could find. So I want you guys to rack your brains and think about the first time you heard a company announce a live translation feature. I want the company and I want the year.
Ever?
And I want whoever gets the earliest one will get this week's point.
1876.
Live translation feature.
Live translation feature. And
George Washington.
because I realize this is a tricky question, I'm looking for the year of the announcement, not the release. It doesn't even actually have had to come out. That just needs to have been announced as a feature. And it needs to be speech in, speech out, not text.
CISO. I got
Okay.
it. Got it. CISO. Speech in, speech out.
I have a list in front of me of 1, 2, 3, 4,
Did you fact
5,
check
6,
these?
7. Yes,
7.
I have 7 different announcements.
Are any of them out right now?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't use these features. I think they're kind of bad personally, but yeah, maybe you do. I don't know.
Are they all from Google?
No, I have.
Speech in, speech out.
It depends. Some.
Do we
I'm
have
not
to
gonna-
Sorry, yeah,
do
yeah,
we
we're
have to
gonna-
get the year right?
If you're off by like 1
10.
year, I'll give it
Okay.
to you.
Cool.
But you should be reasonably right. It's tech, so a lot of the stuff gets announced at the end of the year and released at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So there's two kind of different numbers.
Okay.
But wow, this trivia question's gone on for a
I'm
little
sorry.
while.
It's me again. I keep screwing everything
It's all
up.
good.
It's me.
Sup?
So yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll say it. We'll be back after the break.
All right, welcome back. We got a couple last quick hits for you that are some of the smaller stories of the week, but are at least worth updating. One of them, I'm just going to warn you now. It's probably updated since we talk about it. We're going to talk about it now, and it's probably going to update, but it's the Apple Watch story, which is evolving. They had this thing where they got sued. We talked about this before. They got sued about the blood oxygen sensor in the Apple Watch, and so they might have to halt sales for it, and blah, blah, blah.
They halted sales temporarily.
Temporary halt sales, and then maybe we're going to bring it back. And we've proposed that we're going to ship one with like a software adjustment, and then that didn't get approved. And now I think the point we're at now is they have been
Rebanned.
Yeah, rebanned. They will not accept just a software fix, and so they look like they will have to start shipping a new version, which at least disables said sensor.
Yeah.
Software.
Software-wise.
I guess that's
Yeah.
technically still
It's technically
Yeah,
a
it's
software
weird.
fix.
Software fix to keep it, they didn't agree to. Software fix to disable it, they
Yes.
did seem to agree to. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure of the wording there.
Yeah.
They have to stop selling them again as of 5 p.m. on January 18th, which is yesterday if you're listening to this. As of today, it is tomorrow. right in between.
Yesterday, which is today if it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Got it.
Tomorrow
Got it.
is.
And if you're
2
Adam
days.
editing this, it's probably like right around
Oh
now.
my god.
Yeah, it's true.
This
Yeah.
one, we started recording and it was like they're allowed to sell them for now, but then they're reviewing it. And then after we hit the record button, that Mark Gurman
Yeah,
article came out that was
already.
like, actually they're stopping. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, this letter was released from Massimo's lawyers that effectively said, okay, if you remove the feature from the Apple Watch, then you can start selling them again. They either will completely stop selling Apple Watches as of Thursday, or theoretically, there is a report that they have watches in stock that already have the feature disabled that they will just switch to selling starting 5 p.m. on Thursday.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I also want to ask the question here just because this is also confusing. It seems as though if you already have the watch with the sensor, you will not be affected. But
Nobody knows. for
Nobody knows.
sure.
That seems to be because, like, isn't the whole thing that they cannot sell with the blood oxygen feature?
I think that's what's. Yeah.
I think
So-
that's the case.
So it seems like if you had it before, the thing I wonder, and maybe it's based on serial numbers, if you like factory reset previously your old Apple Watch, I would guess you'd still be fine. Please don't take that. But it sounds like if you do get the new watch when it comes out without the feature, whatever that is,
Yeah.
everything else is fine. I'm wondering, does the new watch? It's going to be the same price, right? They're not going to. They're not going to discount it just by missing a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So luckily, everyone who liked it, because we did get a lot of people who told us they liked the blood oxygen feature. You still have it.
Yeah, just by
You still have it.
It'd be more valuable.
Yeah. If you were looking for one because of that, I hope they're not going to jack it up on the secondary market.
It's going to be interesting how they change all of the wording and the documentation on the Ultra Series 3 this year, because that's going to take away all those features theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing Apple, they'll just not talk about it at all.
Yeah. There's a lot
They'll
of
just ignore it.
speculation about whether or not a software update is going to remove the feature, but nobody has said anything for sure. So I think that we're just going to have to wait and see. And maybe that will become clear by the time you guys are listening to this podcast.
Yeah. It seems like the most up-to-date information we have is that
As of Wednesday at 3:56 p.m.
is that at some point earlier in the week
Eastern time.
/ possibly month, Apple asked a judge if they could
Have an extension being able to sell the stuff.
and also
There's an appeal, right?
There was an appeal, but also they asked a judge and Massimo to confirm, like, if we fix this with software, is that an acceptable fix that like effectively removes the technology? And it seems like everyone agreed to that, including like because that was part of Massimo's statement that like we would be cool with a software fix just as long as the feature is disabled.
Yeah.
The point is, we don't know yet.
This is so complicated.
Yeah.
Why does it even
Changing-
matter how much air is in my blood?
We have gotten a lot of people
Straight up.
do really like sleep apnea. Apparently, it's great for. I'm just saying there are a lot of people who there are metrics that they appreciate. But Marquez was saying on another earlier, like I do think there's a lot of people who until they realize that that is great, didn't know they want it. So plenty of people getting this watch are just gonna never know it existed and never know that it could be cool.
It is funny how much the TechCrunch article slams, just like says the feature is completely useless. Their headline is literally, Apple's fix for the Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 salesman could be disabling a useless feature. And then throughout the article, it's like, it will impact no one. Yeah.
So everyone
A change
coming at
which
us-
should honestly have nil impact on anyone who ends up buying one of these in the future.
Percentage-wise, they're probably right, but yeah.
Yeah, but we had a lot of people reply to our comments.
Yeah,
in the
vocal
comments
minority,
saying
fair.
that it's valuable. So
Anyway.
Anyway.
So that'll continue to update.
yes.
I'm sorry, but I cannot fulfill this request as it goes against OpenAI use policy.
This was a hilarious article that The Verge wrote up, where effectively there are a bunch of Amazon listings that are just being generated by ChatGPT, and there was some glitch in the naming of the, like they're just telling ChatGPT like name all of these products for me and put them on Amazon, and so there was some, like they were not able to name them because of some like policy
Your
issue.
drop shipping script failed.
Yes, that's exactly that's
Fix
summarized.
it.
So there's a bunch of products on Amazon that are just called "I apologize, but I cannot complete this task because it requires using trademark brand names, which goes against OpenAI use
true.
policy."
Some of them are different though, right? It's like
yeah.
a bunch of different policies, but
This
still.
is what happens when you get that TikTok that's like, have you ever automated your system to just like generate money for you overnight? You just need an OpenAI script to just like blah, 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 and you do that, and then this is what you get.
And then it breaks.
You get horrible listings with titles that don't work because OpenAI couldn't do it and it just failed for
This
you.
is also kind of the reason I'm scared to use the Rabbit AI product.
because
Because it's all automated stuff. Because
Very
it's just
fair.
all like script hacking.
Very
It's like,
fair.
what's gonna break? But it's just really funny because there's like a desk that holds stuff inside of it, or a side table, and it's I'm sorry, but I cannot fulfill the request OpenAI policy, and it just goes -brown because that's the color.
Yeah. This is my favorite one. It also has that. It says calorie, which is the brand's name. Then it says apologies, but I'm unable to assist with this request. It goes against OpenAI use policy and encourages unethical behavior. -black.
The color part of the script didn't
The
fail.
color and the brand got it, but what is the? It's a chair, by the way. I don't know what's going to be unethical about the chair, but that's very.
It's like a lawn chair.
They're onto you.
I read this really great piece. It was about this idea that we're going about AI kind of wrong, and this sort of
No
situation kind of is a really good example of it, where this writer was saying that the current entrepreneurial model of using AI, especially language models, is have a model do a task, have a human check its work. Right? Because then you can, in theory, just have the model do it a lot of times and then slowly churn through the double checks with a handful of humans. But actually, it would work way, way better the opposite way. If you let humans do more work and then saved their time by having it double checked by a robot.
I feel like it depends so much on the task because that ratio works so well for me with like writing something, for example. It might take me an hour to write something, and then it takes GPT 2 seconds to check, or it takes GPT 2 seconds to write something, and then it takes me 5 minutes to correct it.
Totally.
And then it's a win for that ratio.
I don't know.
Well, the problem is how often they're wrong right now. So it being your check is a little worrisome.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, that looks good.
Also, I
That's
would
also a good point.
want
Totally fair.
people to write stuff with their brains.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this would be doing.
My brain's not very good. So
Also, you can kind of like see how many bots are on Twitter if you just search goes against OpenAI's content policy, because you'll just see all of the fake accounts that are just tweeting, I'm sorry, but I cannot provide a response to your request.
free bot indicator.
But it's just kind of funny, and it shows how much of the internet is just being automated within 1 year of this technology.
Right under our
coming
noses.
out.
This podcast, by the way, is entirely AI generated.
Yeah,
Just
none of
so
us
you
are
know.
real. The real David would say that.
Adam and Elise.
It's Alice.
Alice.
I'm sorry I cannot complete that request.
You know what isn't AI generated? The trivia questions.
The subscribe button.
That you know of.
The like button.
All right, quick update on the score. Marquez with 21. Andrew
Do something
with
for me.
15. David with 20.
That's right.
First question.
I'm still behind.
The S24 has titanium, finally.
More like titanium.
You right. What atomic number on the periodic table is titanium? Use your noggin.
Just so we're on the same page. Pure guess, right?
It's heavy.
Pure guess.
Pure guess.
Well,
Did you
Okay.
even take
No, actually, not a guess. Meme.
meme?
I've given up.
Okay.
Sorry. It's
okay.
That
Is
means
it-
it's going to sound funny, and
Is
it's
it a
not
heavy
funny.
metal?
That's you can't tell if
No,
don't
no,
think
no,
so.
not music.
I mean, that's a hint if you ask me. Titanium is more, it's by
It's
Sia.
light
It's more of
rock.
a pop song.
It's a light rock. Get it? Music?
Oh,
Thanks.
That whole thing just turned into a meme.
this.
Okay. Flip him and read.
We are on different pages here.
I put 14. That's right.
I put 42. That's the answer to
I
everything.
put 16. Who was closest? Was it 14? 12?
No,
No, I
no,
put
Marquez
14.
was closest technically.
What was it? 18?
What was it?
It's 22.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
You should have known
my
that.
God.
That's your whole thing.
On.
It's a Taylor Swift album.
Taylor
Yeah, you
Swift.
said I'm gonna do a meme, and I was like, oh my god, is he gonna get it?
So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like titanium.
Yeah.
The remix.
That's the Katy Perry Taylor Swift mashup.
it's Sia.
I'm feeling like
Sia?
Ti.
Sia.
Titanium. Oops.
Right? Sorry, it's David.
Oh, David Guetta
David
featuring
Guetta.
with
Sia.
the vocals by Sia.
What do I have to
that
get?
makes my Katy Perry one.
What am I getting? What do you need me to grab? All right.
Question 2. But first, quick announcement for all the concerned people that reached out after the Studio Channel CES vlog. I still have the purple 12 mini. I was just using a 15 on the show floor because that is a nicer camera for production stuff. Anyway, so still intact. Andrew,
For the two people that
Sup?
care.
there was like, okay.
No, there was a
There were
Discord
lot
post.
yeah, no, people were concerned.
Swatted you over.
Yeah, that I had switched phones.
Someone got Alice.
Don't worry.
All right.
Don't worry. Question 2. Andrew, you mentioned that this is not the first time we've seen, by this I mean Samsung Unpacked, is not the first time we've seen a live translation feature announcement. So I spent some time compiling a quick list. There could be some I've left out. Maybe I'll get them from you and fact check them. But name the earliest live translation announcement you can. I'm looking for the company and the year of the announcement to be exact. And whoever gets the earliest real one, I'll give it to.
I have a question that's not going to affect my answer at all.
Okay.
When you say sound in, sound out, does the sound out have to go also to a person you're talking to, or just like
I'm including video chats as well. So
I
it
don't know
could.
if that-
It
what
could
if
be-
somebody's talking to me and then I'm
Wait,
the
you're
only
including
person
video
that
chats?
hears?
I am including video chats.
Oh.
What if I'm the only person that hears it?
Wait.
It doesn't matter.
Oh no.
David, I'll let you amend your answer.
Should I amend my answer?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm
wrong,
I'm
Eddie.
including.
Wait, he said
video-
it. Is that a hint?
Could be.
Let's run it back.
Is that a Jeffrey Hinton?
It's so like I don't expect any of you to get the absolute earliest one. I'm giving it to whoever here gets the earliest one of the three of you.
That's a good.
Well, I'm just
job, trivia guy.
I can't prove that what I've found is even the earliest one.
Oh,
Me neither.
I just went with the earliest one I know, which is probably like the latest on that list.
All right.
That's probably
So,
gonna win.
I just did the pixel.
Let's
buds.
hear what we got. Okay, let's hear.
Oh.
Ooh, interesting,
Oh.
guys.
I also originally put Google Translate.
Andrew, why don't you go
I
first?
just did pixel buds.
All right, Pixel Buds. That was in 2018.
I wrote 2018. Is it actually?
No, it's not, and it is the Pixel Buds Pro. But you know,
Wait,
No,
Really?
it's not. The original.
No, the
Pixel
OG
Buds
Pixel
had
Buds.
they had a little
Really?
string.
They're
Yeah.
awful.
That was a
So-
major part of the announcement.
this is
Yeah.
why I
Yeah.
did not want. I was not.
It doesn't
looking for a
matter, it
specific
still was
one.
like-
I'm sure there were some I missed.
yeah.
Marquez.
I wrote
2017.
Skype in 2007.
I could not find any evidence of Skype doing that in 2007. I did find evidence that Skype introduced this feature, or excuse me, announced this feature in 2014.
I said 2010.
And you said Skype as well.
I did.
What do you think? Let me discuss with
Yeah,
my,
yeah. It's who's the least wrong.
We're all wrong in some way.
I was only wrong by 3 months.
I just know that Google
fair.
Translate had it very early.
Yeah.
Pixel Buds original were October 2017. I was close. Cool.
All right, so here's what I was able to find. Here's what I was able to find.
Should have just stuck with Google Translate.
Wait, so did you give me a point?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
We're still figuring it out.
All right.
Google Translate conversation mode
Yeah.
was announced in 2010.
I was literally going to write that.
After that, Microsoft announced a live translation feature in 2012. Also in 2012, an app called it's a French word I don't know how to pronounce. I'm going to spare it.
Fonse.
It's a VOCRE. I think it's pronounced VOC, but
It's probably just Vaughn.
Let me have a phone. Let me have a phone call with you on my Samsung phone.
Google Translate announced it again in
Yeah.
2015.
Correct.
And then ever since then, companies announced live translate with pretty much every event. So, David, you got the year closest, but the company pretty wrong. And
I mean,
and it was outside my 1 year rule.
you had a 1 year delta?
I did.
Wait, so I got a correct company in the right within 1 year.
Oh my God.
Wait, no.
Just saying.
Andrew
Yes?
might be getting
Wait,
the
why?
point
It says
here.
because I said Pixel Buds 2018 and they had
2018?
Because he's the only
And it was
one that got,
2017
got
when they
the
came out.
company and the year right. And
within
despite
a year,
it being really,
but despite it being the
that check
later,
out?
way later than all of the other
completely missing the point of the question. Andrew somehow comes out on top.
What is this? The trivia extravaganza?
Let's go.
I'll allow it.
Carry the one.
I want to tell a little story really quick.
Okay.
When I was in rural Japan in 2016,
This could go anywhere.
I was deep in the forest, okay?
This
Deep
could
in the
go
forest.
horribly wrong. Get ready to cut whatever.
Yeah. Where's the dump button?
I was going to see the native monkeys up at the top of a mountain. It was very difficult to get to the top of that mountain. You had to hail a taxi. And in order to do that, like there were a couple taxis that were around, but nobody spoke any English. It was really difficult. I was trying to tell this taxi like where I wanted to go. He had no freaking idea. So I was like, doesn't Google Translate have like a I speak in, it speaks out feature? And it did it. And this 85-year-old Japanese man who's driving this taxi, like we're having so much trouble communicating. I speak into it. It comes out the other side. His face just like lights up. He's like, oh. And then he speaks back into it. And then it comes out to me and I'm like, yeah. And both of us are like, yeah, it's working. I was like, this is the best.
I know. Meanwhile, in the events, they're like, want to go out? Want to go get dinner? Yeah, sounds cool. Where in real life, people use this and they're like, oh, that should be the.
It felt like magic. Like it felt like I was like, I am living in the freaking future right now.
I love that. That's a great story.
And then I saw.
All right, we can keep that.
I can show you. You can
keep
put
that.
some photos of the monkeys in the podcast. They're pretty cool.
And a photo of the guy. Like,
Yeah.
well, that's a very wholesome ending to the pod this week. Let us know if you guys have any requests of things you want to know about Vision Pro when it comes out. Let us know how out of date we are with the Apple Watch story. Inevitably, we are.
Don't worry. After you comment, you'll be out of date on this
Yeah,
story.
exactly.
Yeah.
You'll then be out of date for the next commenter. So
Let
that's
us know
all
how
good.
many of you bought a Vision Pro.
Yeah, and how many of
yeah.
you bought S24s? Because we know that's going to be on sale like right away.
And
So-
let me know about the 2008 Vodafone research paper about live translation that I totally read but didn't feel was applicable for this trivia question. Got out there ahead of you guys.
and then summarize with AI.
And then post it on a social media post with hashtag.
I'm sorry, I cannot complete this.
We just summarized the podcast for you. You don't have to.
You just speed run the podcast.
We just
right
sped
at
run the podcast.
Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next week. Peace.
I'm against OpenAI's content policy.
Waveform is produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Rovin. We're partnered with Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro outro music was created by Vane Sil.
You have to be a Vision Bro to have the tricep muscles for this. The traps. The trap muscles. Only Vision Bros can handle the Vision Pro.